Okay, the talkback should be live anytime now. I am going to change everybody's name back to their actual name. Jan, if you want to start us off with a few questions, or if anyone in the cast wants to ask a question, and to anyone who's following us on Facebook, please post your questions in the comments and we will address them as we see them.
Okay, one thing I would like to do is point out that we have several in our cast tonight with roots in Liberty Center Association, but who no longer live in Sedalia. And I'd like for them to maybe tell something about their past association with Sedalia Theater. The Bachman family, Dale, Linda, and Eric, are joining us from New Jersey.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Hello, Missouri.
Okay, all the way from, it's like a miracle, isn't it? That we do a show together and you're in New Jersey. So, what was your
Yeah, so there's something good came from this whole pandemic.
Yeah. What's your past association with Liberty Center when you were here?
We got involved in Liberty Center in 2004, probably. About that, Linda saw that they were staging Annie, and she had always wanted to play Miss Hannigan.
Oh yeah.
So she went over and did that, and
I remember that one.
That's what started it. And then we were in probably shows.
every year. So
Assassins was dope. That was the first one.
Yeah,
Assassins,
the
I
whole
was
family
in.
Yeah,
Our daughter joined us for Assassins. All four of us were in Assassins.
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
Linda and I were in Nonsense together.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and then no. Then you did music director for Alice in Wonderland. I was the Cheshire Cat in that. Then we did what? Dad and I did the Full Monty. For the record,
yeah.
I didn't audition for any of these shows. They said, "Hey, we had a guy drop out for the Full Monty, and we need a kid. So come on and strip on stage for a month. You're gonna be fine." So that's our relationship with the.
I got $1 from that one though.
Did you actually?
I did.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't get paid.
Nice. Okay, also we have with us Annie Boehner Barney. Yes, she is my daughter and Richard's daughter, of course, joining us from Shawnee, Kansas.
Hi.
Hey.
Not quite as far away as New Jersey, but yeah.
Tell us about what you did at Liberty Center years ago.
Okay, years. We're not going to think about how many years. Well, my first show goes all the way back to 1991. I did Fiddler on the Roof when I was in 5th grade, when Mom played Golda. Although I would like to point out that I was the one that wanted to audition. She just went with me to the audition and then talked her into auditioning, and she got the lead. But
And I sang Yellow Submarine for my audition.
and she sang Yellow Submarine for her audition, and I was mortified.
And you were in the version of junior theater that we had at that time. What was that called?
A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
What was the group called though? Youth
Oh, the Sedalia Arts Council Youth Corps.
Youth Corps. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did the play, and we did some melodramas like down at the Katy Depot and like that for various things. So I'm still good friends with all the people I was doing shows with, my youth corps friends. So,
Including Linky Clark, who is still very active in community theater here.
Yeah. So, we got to be on Pepper and Friends. Did you guys know what Pepper and Friends was? That was a big deal to go
TV show
and be on TV.
Columbia.
But we got to do that. And then as I worked backstage, I worked on Camelot. I worked on, I was in Shenandoah, and I played Daisy May in Little Abner. And then went to Kansas City for college and never came back.
Oh.
Life in the big city.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I a lot of fondness for that.
So we do have a few comments. First, we have Katie Boehner Lammers. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Thank you for putting the character names as the Zoom names. That was helpful. I'm glad you liked it. We had the idea in the middle of Macbeth, or we would have done it in that live stream. We tried it for the first time on Million Pound Banknote. I had to do a more name changing during the show on this one. So if anyone got messed up, that was my fault. So, but I'm glad you appreciated it. Thank you.
I think they were all perfect, Carl.
Thank you. From Dalton Lee Treese, that Lysander's guy green screen isn't working. So Eric, they wish you would have actually used your green screen.
He said you
Dalton
did.
said your green screen wasn't working.
And Dalton also says much love to Mr. and Mrs. Dr. Bachman from the Treeses.
Thanks, buddy.
We have another comment from Katie Boehner Lammers. Woohoo, Annie, my sister. Until we get some more comments in, I have a question for the cast. I ask most casts this. What would you like to see us do next for quarantine theater? And Maddie, to answer your question, no, I can't hear you. So just for the cast, who would be interested? What would you like us to do next? Sean, what was that again?
W2.
We have to write that first, so.
Hopefully that can be on stage.
Yeah, and we're hoping that we'll be able to actually stage that one, but we'll see. Any other thoughts?
I'd like to see a like a one-room discussion thriller, kind of like a 12 Angry Men situation, where just like 12 people are sitting in a room and talking anyway. I mean, that would be a really cool.
That's a pretty good idea, because usually shows like that are difficult to stage and kind of boring because they're so static, but it would totally work here.
Yeah, like a locked in the room kind of thriller mystery. That would be.
Yeah.
I don't know what's a free and adapted, but that would be cool.
Murder on Orient Express.
Mm-hmm.
Like a whodunit?
Yeah, those are good ideas.
Just do a murder is in the air, like pick who you want to be the killer thing. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe we should go with Clue.
Ooh.
yeah, sure.
Hey,
Public domain.
Yeah.
Carl, can you write a choose your own adventure play where we'll have literally have the audience pick what happens next?
I have there's it's called the what's it called, the Norman Conquests by Alan Ayckbourn, I think, and it's like 64 plays that all start from there's one opening scene, and then as you go along there are 64 possible branches from it.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Like as an actor, if the readers like you're going through your script, like okay, like where's this next page?
That's what HTML is for.
There you go.
Gabe Sokolowski, you should do a production of Cats. No. Also,
Yeah, she's got my support, Carl. I'm just saying.
Hold on. Only if Gracie's the lead cat. That's the only way this works with the roar.
yeah, there you go.
Roar.
Yeah.
Dalton Lee Treese agreed with Angry Men or even Clue type play. It's a good idea. The next one of our QT directors coming up is working on a Sherlock Holmes piece, I believe. So,
I was going to say something like that.
That'd be cool.
We're up in the air when it's going to happen, but I've got my fingers crossed. Dalton Lee Treese is suggesting we just play Dungeons and Dragons. I would be down with that, but we'd need to find a good DM.
Get him out of there. Kick him out of the chat.
I just like doing Shakespeare because I like being able to understand it as I do it.
Okay.
Because it's really hard to understand it first.
So, and Carlin, if you want a good DM here, it's simple. You roll a 1, a dragon falls on your head, and you die.
That would be the D&D that I've played before, yeah. Katie Boehner Lammers has said choose your own adventure would be such a cool idea.
Yeah.
So we take a Shakespeare play.
We could get Fifth Street in.
Just for John's sake, we should do something like with a Wookiee in it, for example. What do you think, John?
I was just waiting for there to be more dogs that kept coming.
The dog's in the moon.
And this is my dog. And this my thorn bush.
Yes. Is that a metaphor? So Amber has a question for Doug and Sarah. This was your first show. How did you like it?
Go ahead, Sarah. If she's on there somewhere.
She is.
I think for getting my toe wet for being in theater, this is the best way to go. Because I'm in the comfort of my own home and I have the script right in front of me.
Mhm.
You know, if I forget something, I can just be like, oh, look.
Well, I hope you keep it up now, Sarah. You're great.
Yeah.
For me, it was enjoyable for many that don't know me by the last name, because for many years I was either Dougie Dog, Doug Allen, or whatever it was on the radio. So this was kind of nice to come back to kind of what I call radio drama. It's kind of my background. I really enjoyed it. It was nice.
This is a really good avenue to experience live theater, because there could be 20 people watching, there could be 1,000 people watching. It would still feel the same.
Yeah.
So at least from a streaming perspective, it's so easy, especially with the practices. Thank you, Jan, for all of that.
Yeah.
With the practices and the learning it, it's kind of second nature. You're just reading the same script again, you know?
Yeah, this whole thing has been amazing to me because we've done these plays, all of them with about 4 rehearsals each. And the way they come together is so much fun to watch. It really is.
I've learned my lesson, though. Next time, I'm getting my own computer.
You freaking made this today, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty sharp there.
No wood structure and everything, a trip hazard.
Wow.
Dude, it was so freaking funny.
It all
You
out.
guys were arguing about like scene change. Sorry.
I have to put my glasses on because I can't really see you guys' faces.
We have a couple of comments from Robin Phillips. So proud of you, Sarah. I love you. Doug, she also says you did very well.
Thank you. Maddie did good too, Robin.
She also says I might have to try it if the chance arises. Robin, we will remember that and track you down and drag you on screen. So thank you for volunteering.
I will hold her accountable because I am her daughter.
Well,
that's right, Maddie.
I will keep her to that.
Maddie, that's how I got involved, because Sean was involved in the theater. And so I just was around the theater a lot and on a whim started doing more things there.
I dragged her to an audition.
She did. She was like, no, Mom, you're really going to do this.
I will.
Parents, like, you either audition for something or you start helping with the show. Like, my mom was talking about one of her experiences helping with the children's theater, and she's like, I never knew I could sew until like they asked me to like stick up some costumes. I'm like, now I know how to do that.
I will say along the lines of what Sarah was talking about, this is to you, Carl, specifically, and then also Jan, but I don't know if it's really been said in the previous productions, but I think you guys have done a great job of keeping our youth in our community occupied with doing some creative things, which is what this is all about. You know, for us to get the chance to kind of do it, many of us have been on stage in the past, but to do something like this has just been fun. And quite frankly, I don't think we'd be able to put Shakespeare together in a week, but we did it with this. So it was nice.
Yep. The Liberty Center online workshops are great too, because kids are cut back on their usual summer activities right now. Yeah. They need something like this. It's wonderful.
Yeah, this has kept me sane during quarantine.
At least you get to choose to be an actor. I've never auditioned for any show.
I don't buy that, Eric. You got a great voice.
Oh, yeah.
Every show that they've been in, I happen to get a part. Hey, we're thinking about auditioning for a show. We got the smallest parts. You're one of the main four. Go for it, bro. Thanks.
I'll talk to you someday about how Amber got involved with literally every production I've ever done.
Yeah, I bet.
So Amber did ask a question for the student actors in this one. Do you prefer the shows that are student only, or do you prefer the mixed age shows?
Good question.
I like the student only because you get like bigger parts, and the adults get like bigger parts when you're like mixed. So.
Point.
I think I like the student only ones better because I feel like it's easier to relate to the kids because they're the same age as me, rather than there's adults who have done this way longer than I have.
Yeah, but we're the same mentally.
Way longer.
And I was going to say, that's actually not true, Maddie. There are adults involved with this that have less experience than you do.
That's much true.
You never chose to be in.
But I just want to say, as somebody who's gone away from it, when I think back to what I learned from all the adults of various levels, from as somebody who grew up as a student in Sedalia Community Theater, I learned so much from doing those shows with the adults. We had some really remarkable actors, and they're still around Sedalia. But when I think about the experience I gained from these volunteers, really, and not professionals or anything, I'm so grateful for that. So, just do every show you can possibly get your hands on if it's what you love, and there's something to be gained from all of it.
Yeah, this is such a great community because everybody around you has the same passion that you do. And it's just amazing to see that so many people have the same thing in common.
Yeah, and I think like that's what makes theater great is because like everyone is just working so hard to make it the best that it possibly can be. And that's something that I've always really appreciated in being in theaters, the community of it all. Because I don't know, like making friends is kind of hard sometimes, but like when you're doing a show, like even if like you don't know people, you get to know people because you're working together, that builds. And
No
matter
who. Theater was my social life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
my entire social life.
Even if we don't know you, you're going to become family within 2 or 3 days.
Literally.
Yeah, it's like kindergarten.
Literally, because I did a show one summer and one of the actors in it met our oldest daughter, Katie, and they're married now and have been married for, I can't even tell you, 10, 12, 15 years. I can't remember how long, but anyway.
Try almost 20.
No.
Yeah.
That old.
It was like 2001.
2001. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
it is interesting to see the relationships that develop because, I've known a lot of you over the course of the years, but, it's kind of cool. John and I used to work together. I employed him for, I don't know, was it 2 years before he went to college?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And now look at you, man, budding voice person, actor on stage, and whole 9 yards.
Now, here's the thing is that now I started young in Sedalia in the theater, with the best Christmas pageant ever and whatnot. And Annie, I didn't know this, that I was in Little Abner with you way back in the day.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
and now I feel super bad because I don't remember and I'm sorry.
Hey, it's okay. I couldn't remember. I know Matt Cain was in it. That's who I remember because I knew Matt. I'd known Matt for a long time. But
I didn't remember that Matt was in it, but maybe he was.
Matt was-
I don't know.
he was-
I
he
was
did
the
everything
lead,
back-
so
yeah.
I didn't know. Joking.
Well, Matt did everything back then. So, but as far as I can also understand what the younger actors are saying. As far as you're right. When it's an all same age cast, you do have a chance to grab those lead spots. But I'll tell you, as somebody who's done theater at a young age, done theater in high school, done theater older, when you get to be older, your goal isn't necessarily always to be the lead. It is trying to help a lot of those younger ones be able to step up and feel comfortable taking that lead role. And there is a time and place for that. So where it's like, listen, I've done what I need to do. I'm good doing, Horatio on the side telling Hamlet to get his butt in gear, but you don't have to necessarily be the guy in front. You're really trying to push the younger ones to grow because you see where it can lead.
My first role when I was 11 was the corkscrew in The Beauty and the Beast. And I looked at Belle and I thought she was so attractive, and then Gaston, and I said I could be Gaston, but I was 11 years old. I could not have been Gaston, but
so Eric, Robin Phillips said she doesn't think that you actually mind being drug into all of the different plays.
I definitely enjoy performing. Yeah. But I don't go out and search it. I've had this conversation with Dad actually after college. I'm a single guy and like, hey, how do I go meet girls that aren't at a bar, or like I'm not just gonna go to the library. I can't yell at her or something. Like, how am I supposed to meet people after college? The answer is theater. I mean, and then I'm realizing, oh gosh, like I am the age of that one guy who I saw playing Gaston. I could be Gaston now. Like, there's this cycle to it, and this being involved early is a benefit to the rest of your life, in theater at least.
But that also means, young ladies, watch out, because the men who are involved in theater are just there to meet you.
So we
Not true.
More questions.
Hopefully there's an on-stage kiss. I mean, that's what you work for.
We've got a few more questions, and our comments are actually rolling off of my screen, so yay. So Katie Boehner-Lamers has asked, was this the full script or an abridged? This was an abridged script. I cut it down. It actually runs 2.5, 3 hours. We cut it down to whatever it ran. Scott Barney says, Josh and Stella say, great job, Grandpa Richard.
Yay.
Katie Boehner-Lamers did the math. You've been married 19 years.
Good. Glad I know that as her mother.
Amber wanted to comment. John, she thought your comment about the theater was really good with working with the youth. She thought that was a really good comment. Katie Boehner-Lamers, shout out to my husband Greg, who was pulled into acting by Nick Carson and was friends with Jan, my mom, before we started dating. Thanks, then known as Sedalia Community Theater. So,
yeah.
Thank you for watching.
And that was weird to have somebody that I considered a peer and friend start dating my daughter. That was really
that would be weird.
And then become my son-in-law.
Yeah. Then we have Joyce Prater, Olivia, Phil and I loved you. You did a fantastic job. You are special, Grandma.
Well, thank you.
And then Maddie, you've had your hand up very patiently for a while. What's your question?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to add on to what John was saying earlier. I guess when I do a play, in the back of my head, it's always like, oh, I want the lead. But then when I don't get the lead, I'm like, oh, that's great, because then I can learn what it's to be like, to be the lead and not have to have all that pressure. And so it's like, hey, that's good for me, and maybe one day that will be something that I can do.
Yeah. Well, and as far as not getting the lead, it's never, a lot of the times not being the lead can be a blessing, because especially if you've ever, I've done theater outside of Sedalia, and I've met some leads, or I've done some plays with some leads that were very intense. We'll put it nicely that way. And to just be able to stand back and your part, you can do it well and deliver on your part so well that it helps them, that it brings a better measure to the show than and seeing the stress that they're under. it's just like I feel like that would age me 10 years sometimes, depending on the show and what's required.
Yeah, and I used to like whenever I was much younger, I very much like felt the same way. Oh, like really wanted the lead, whatever. But like I really come to like understand like there are no small parts because without every single moving piece, it doesn't work. And like you said, being not the lead teaches you something. You know, whether like you're a sidekick and like you're a comedic role, like that can help improve like your comedy, or you know, or if you're playing some other type of character that isn't always a protagonist, it gives you a different set of skills that you may not have had before. And I think it's always important, no matter like what role you're doing, to just embrace it for what it is and to learn from it and grow.
And you can study the parts that aren't yours.
Yeah.
You can say, what do they have? How'd they get that part? How can I develop that? You know?
Well, yeah, and not just that. If you deliver as your you know your sidekick, side character, whatever, there are directors that are going to pay attention to that, and they're going to be like, Maddie did such a great job last time, and she was only on stage for 3 minutes. So what happens if we step it up a little bit and give her just a little bit more? And when you build that trust with a lot of those directors, you're gonna find out that if you're delivering consistent, great performance, no matter what they ask you to do, within reason, that you're eventually going to be, they're going to be like, you know what, we got this part, and I know no matter what, Maddie's going to deliver every single time.
Mm-hmm. And then you get more and more and more.
Yep. Being in an ensemble is hard.
Yeah.
Like, to be in the background, while there are people who are technically the focus of it, but to live believably as a character that maybe you don't have a name, you don't know, and you get to create that and make it part of the fabric of the play, and it's not easy to do, but it's so important. Having also directed high school theater and just like trying to like drive people who think, oh, I'm just in the background, it doesn't really matter what I do, and it's like, no, you're part of the world, and but it's even harder because you have to create that for yourself. So being that person that's part of the ensemble is so important, and so a challenge in its own way.
And I would say, just take the parts that you get and run with it and make it as creative and make yourself stand out. Last year I went to a concert to go see Hugh Jackman in concert. He shared a story. He shared a story of how he never had a big role until he was given a role where he had to learn how to sing. Apparently he'd never learned how to sing. And then he got the part of Gaston. There you go, Eric. And from Gaston, he went on to everything else that you're seeing today. So you just gotta take those small roles all lead up to something.
I've never learned how to sing, but I have learned how to talk, I think.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman said he learned how to sing just by mimicking. That's at least what he shared in his concert.
I say I'm a parrot all the time. I mimic things. But the other thing I must say to this entire thing is that if you go out for a play and you have a specific role in mind, and you audition and you try your hardest, and then you don't get it, maybe you get some subvert role. It's the get back up and try again. It's you gotta keep. I mean, there's a level to the get up and keep going. I don't have kids. This is terrible, but I don't know how to describe it.
No, that's pretty much what it's like. Yeah. It's pretty much
it sucks. It's
feeling like you don't know what to say, but just like saying it anyway. That's parenting.
It sucks.
So I would like to follow up on something John said. It's something that students have heard me say a lot. You are always auditioning. If it's not for this show, it's the next show or the next show.
That's
Just
true.
know that what you're showing me right now affects how I will cast you the next time I see you, even if it's a year or 2 years from now.
I mean, that's a lesson I learned a long time ago from I always call her Queen Susie. Most of you would know Suzanne Foster, but that was a lesson she kind of ingrained in me, and I'd known her since I don't know 2 or 3. I think I'd known her. Apparently, I tried to join dance, and I wasn't allowed because they didn't have guys dancing back then. Is what my mom said.
Oh, I was in ballet for a year.
You know, every show, you know, if you were professional and you gave it your all and you did everything, whenever she directed, I know she remembered, and that even carried when she was directing in high school, because she would take chances on people that would never have thought of being on there, and she would fight tooth and nail for you too.
Sometimes that's all you need is the one chance. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maddie, you've got another comment?
Yeah. You guys are talking about ensembles. Back in November, I did Frozen Junior at the junior high, and Frozen is one of my favorite movies. So I was like, oh, I could be one of those like big roles, and then I was a troll, and she told us not to call them rocks. But I realized that there was going to be a part in the play where they were going to be looking at me and everybody else around me because I'm singing and dancing. And so it just made me happy, and I love to sing. So that made it even more great.
Yeah, and like something Doug said, like whatever role you get, embrace it, because you never know how much fun a role is unless you really try. Like I did Ursula like a while ago, and I never thought I would get cast as Ursula. Like that was just not something that I like. I was like, okay, I guess I'll do this, and I had so much fun. I never played a villain before, and like it's so much fun. I think villains are great. So.
And you were awesome in that role.
You know, and again, I wouldn't have gained that experience if I was just like, I didn't get the part that I wanted, and I'm just gonna do whatever now. You know.
Another side of this is that there's nothing better in life, whether it's theater or any place else, than being part of a team that succeeds. And there's no tighter team, no more dependent team than the cast of a play.
Liberty Center, hoy!
Everybody depends on everybody else on stage. Everybody saves everybody else on stage at one point or another. It's an incredible feeling.
Yeah, because when you do a play and the cast list comes out, and if you're on that cast list, you just gained X amount of friends that you get to connect with and be with, and you want them to succeed as much as you want yourself to succeed, because if they succeed, you succeed.
Yep.
And not only are the parts on stage important, but the background crew are also very important in putting a production together.
I mean, honestly, like if you don't have the technical elements, like it doesn't, I mean, I don't say like you can't do a show without technical elements, but like it really just—
We're doing one.
just adds that extra layer of immersion and world building that I think makes theater so great, because it really can be escapism, not only like for the audience, but I think for the actors too. And you know, without all the people behind the scenes really making that happen, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, like Frozen Junior without the trolls also wouldn't have gotten her powers taken away, and the play wouldn't have made sense. The movie wouldn't have made sense.
There you go.
So Robin Phillips has commented mountain folk, so I think she's wanting to say they were mountain folk, not trolls.
Yeah.
In the play they were, in the movie they were trolls.
I know.
And it's hidden folk, by the way. That's what the script said it was.
Yeah. It took me
Preach,
to figure out what the comment was about. That's tough.
Oh.
Amber made 2 comments. She again reiterated, Olivia, you were great as Ursula. And then she also commented, villains are much more interesting than the ingenue.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And like, something that like I very much learned playing Ursula is like villains think that they're right. Like they think that what they're doing is the solution to their problem. You know, and that's what makes them so interesting, is because their moralities may be a little bit skewed, but they're like, no, like I was wronged and I need to do something about it. And this is what I'm going to do to get what I want. So
You
yeah,
rarely find an unmotivated villain.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and usually the best shows, like the best anything, people can identify with the villain, and there'll be some people. Sorry, I'm going to go a little so like Magneto is a great villain in comic books because there is a huge number of people who are there like, I see his point, like he's not wrong. Maybe he goes about it a little wrong, but he's not wrong in what he's going with, and that he's just the opposite side of the same coin, and that even heroes have a hard time not agreeing with him.
Yeah, no, and again, like diverting, but like Magneto is a perfect example of that because again, it's somebody that was tortured their whole life and has so much pain residing within them that they want to do something about it. They want to prevent that harm from coming onto them. But, you know, in his case, ended up kind of oppressing people in a way that he was oppressed. And it's just, again, it's so interesting to see all of that. And it's great storytelling. I love X-Men. Marco and I just watched like all of them over quarantine. And I, like, because I hadn't seen all of them and I was like, oh my God, like, I love this so much. Even the bad ones. But we don't have to talk about it.
We're not.
So we've been going about half an hour, maybe a little more. The comments on the stream have sort of slowed down. Does anyone in the cast have a question before we sign off?
When's the next one? What's up next?
As soon as I know, you'll know.
Great.
I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity. It has been a lot of fun, especially this week. It's kept me inside, which I know my parents probably prefer.
Except that one.
No, I just went and checked it out. Anyway, thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. I was so thrilled to have everybody that came to this show. I'm just as pleased as I can be with the whole thing.
It was fantastic.
It's also been
Thank you.
great experience.
And Carl for enabling this.
Everybody.
Hey, all I did was announce what the next scene was. You guys
No, you've helped so much.
Yeah, you were there the whole time.
And yeah, oh my God.
I just got on you not having to pronounce certain words.
Hey, Carl, just for you, you know, we've talked about being on set and everything. It's been great to see people that are behind the scenes doing things this go around, and that's usually where I'm at, helping out in the background. But Carl, we have to do a strike here, so we gotta take that.
Oh, struck the wall.
Excellent.
Every show needs a strike.
Man.
Strike.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Here, I'll strike my portion of the set.
Nice.
Beautiful.
I will, my broom's in the other room. I'll go get it here in a little bit and sweep it up.
Here we go. I struck my set.
John, I am not cleaning up after that Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, okay?
I was gonna say I'm gonna need some help with this guy.
Put that prop crown in the prop closet.
Yeah.
Nobody steps on a church in my town.
I hit my house, but I don't think my mother would like that.
All right. Thank you, everyone. As soon as we know the next quarantine theater, we will let you all know. And with that, we'll end the live stream. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.